Most people hire movers only a few times in their life, but when you do, you might hear a few different terms thrown around that describe different types of movers. Today, let's break down two of those terms: van lines and move brokers. Now, a van line, that's a nationwide or international organization that will coordinate moving services through a network of local agents who are typically each independently owned, but they all operate under the same branding and strict standards. Just a fun fact, the term van in van lines actually dates back to when the enclosed vehicles were called moving vans. That's what we still use to transport household goods today. But the key takeaway for you, van lines bring oversight to their movers, ensuring consistent pricing, quality, and ethics. And that's especially true for interstate and international moves. Contrast this with independent movers who won't have that same oversight. So that typically means for you closer to reality estimates and better move processes. Now let's talk about move brokers, which act as middlemen. They contract out your move to other moving companies. Now the reason they exist is because it's about convenience. They work to shop multiple movers on your behalf, and they're paid whatever the difference is between what you paid them and what they'll pay the actual mover, because they won't do any of that moving themselves. But there's some key differences to keep in mind. And the first one is who's doing the move. With van lines, you'll be signing with the actual mover, so you'll know from day one who's doing the move. With brokers, you may not meet those movers until the actual moving day, and that can present a real risk if the movers who show up, maybe they aren't reputable. The next thing to consider would be cost estimates. Van lines will typically provide more accurate estimates, and move broker estimates can be a little bit less reliable typically, and that's just because they don't control the actual mover. That mover on moving day could change the cost, and actually that often happens because the mover hasn't actually seen what needs to be moved yet, and that can lead to some differences. Lastly, think about filing claims. Van lines will allow you to file claims directly with them, again because they perform the move. But with brokers, you'll have to go through the contracted moving company. And every company's process might be a little bit different, so keep that in mind. Now, when thinking about what the best choice for you, a couple things to consider. No matter who you choose, start with research. Look for reviews and check the FMCSA registration on the broker, van line agents, or any of the contracted movers. The accurate service and estimates and claims. Think about the fact that van lines are going to give you that control, better estimates, and a simpler claims process. Think about if that matters. In the end, our advice is to consider it like this. The mover will be handling everything that you own in your life, in your home. So if you choose a van line, that will likely come down to needing trust and control, knowing beforehand who will do the move, how much it'll cost, and what will happen if things break. Now with brokers, you'll give up that control for a possible chance at a cheaper price, but that may or may not hold true in the end. By understanding these differences, it allows you to make an informed decision. Now, whatever you choose, we want to make sure you get that smooth and the stress-free move that you deserve.